Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are brand new games to the Pokémon series, but the question is, do they hold up to the Pokémon name, or do they stumble in attempting to do so? Pokémon games have had a recent rough time on the Nintendo Switch, with Sword and Shield and Arceus both having rough edges. It seems that continues with the newest Pokémon game Scarlet and Violet, but the Pokémon formula has been changed in so many ways to the point that it may make the games worth it. For starters, the game is no longer a semi-open world game. The game is completely open world, allowing you to do whatever you please in whatever order. That includes gym battles. You're able to face all 8 of the gyms in whatever order you please. But what sucks is that the level of the Pokemon that you are facing in each gym will not scale up to your level. Meaning that if you go to fight the 30 level Pokemon in a different gym, and then you go down to the 15 level Pokemon, they will stay at level 15. They will not scale up to you, and you will basically be stuck there fighting the easy Pokemon with no challenge. But the open world doesn't end there, as the open world also has 3 different storylines. One of them being the gym badges, another being the Elite Four, and another being Titan battles. The Elite Four is your classic Elite Four, and your Titan battles is basically versing large Pokemon, much like how Arceus did it with their Alpha Pokemon, but here it's on less of a random scale. Now, of course, you have 2 versions of the game, Scarlet and Violet, both having their own exclusives, those being in Pokemon and in the legendaries Koraidon and Miraidon. The differences will also be between the color and name of your school, along with the professor that you have. In Scarlet, you have Professor Seda, who is in basically an ancient type outfit, kind of like a barbarian outfit. She's really hot. But also, the colors are going to be orange, and the school's name is Naranja, which means orange in Spanish. In Violet, you'll be wearing purple colors, and your school will be purple. Your school will be named Uva Academy, and your professor will be named Professor Turo. Scarlet focuses more on the past, featuring ancient Pokemon and ancient Pokemon types, along with Koraidon being a more ancient and older type legendary. Violet is the exact opposite, looking at more of a future perspective, with Miraidon being a more futuristic type jet thing, which is kind of really cool. I like it. That's the one I picked. As you upgrade them, they'll be able to ride as a bike, work as a boat, fly, and even climb mountains. It's basically a big combination of what we had in Arceus. The legendaries of this game feel really good. They actually feel like they have a soul and aren't just meant to be some legendary creature that we're supposed to nab. The rest of the game, though, is pretty standard Pokemon. You capture and enslave a little creature, you force them to do your bidding, and then you hopefully win, and if you lose, you pay money. Simple. Even though the game is still baseline Pokemon, the reason it's actually really fun to play is because of that open world. You get sidetracked so often in this game, it is actually insane. You see something in one corner, you go over there, and you're like, wow, okay, I got this. Then you see something in another corner, you go there. And it's just a big chain that keeps on going, and you are basically completely steered off the main path of the game, just doing side things for the fun of it. The models are pretty good, the new character creator is also pretty decent, and a lot of the story elements are actually really good. I haven't finished the game yet, I've been playing for around 10 hours now, but what I've played of the story is actually really good, and is much better than what we've had in the past. Of, hey, go do the gym badges, good luck! We also have your new rival, which in this case isn't really your rival, it's your friend, Nemona. Nemona has already gone through her Pokemon journey, and is basically teaching you how to start your own. Fun fact, the amount of Nemona's Rule 34 keeps getting bigger and bigger. You wanna know what else keeps getting bigger? The case is placed against you because Nemona's a minor. FBI, open up! The story is very standard Pokemon, where you're the new kid that just moved in and gets to choose their starter. Speaking of starters, you have 3 starters to choose from: Fuecoco, Sprigatito, and Quaxly. Personally, I picked Quaxly because he got sass, but also because he eventually likes to show off some ass. Now, this game isn't a featureless addition to the Pokemon series. For starters, we have Let's Go mode, which is really good. You know how long I've been waiting for a mode where you can throw your Pokemon out, walk around, and they'll fight for you? It's really cool because it's all automatic and you still get rewards. Albeit you only get a fraction of the rewards that you would get if you were actually to engage in battle, but because you're able to fight so many Pokemon in so big of volume, you kinda make up for it. After defeating these Pokemon through Let's Go mode, you'll be able to collect material that you can use to craft TMs, which you can now do at Poke Center. Similar to Mega Evolution, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have terrestrialization, which basically gives your Pokemon a hat. but the hat has powers. This hat is very special, as it can enhance whatever your Pokemon type is, or it can give it a new type, allowing it to use moves it was not allowed to use before, along with combating weaknesses that it did have before. It's pretty cool, and it can actually really change up the game, but it still feels like just another version of Mega Evolution. I kinda like it though, as it does mix some things up. This does sound like a pretty decent Pokemon game, one that even I'd recommend if it weren't for some blaring issues. Yeah, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have some major issues on the Nintendo Switch, where it can struggle to even hit 30 frames per second, and can look pretty darn ugly. Frame rates of NPCs in Pokemon can sometimes dip into the 10s and 15s of frames when they're just a few feet away from you. Now, cutting the frame rate for far-off entities is used in every game, but to this extent where they're practically in front of you is absurd. It gets even worse, as when you are merely just exploring the open world, the frame rate can dip to the 20s, to the 15s, and even to the 10s. That is unacceptable, especially when the game suffers from slowdown instead of just choppy frame rate, meaning that the game runs at half the speed when running at 15 frames per second, meaning you're not doing as much in the same amount of time. The game is simply just ugly, the textures do not look good, and the world looks super barren. The game is fun, I enjoy it a lot, but there needs to be some extra work done, and this is not the fault of the Switch's hardware. The Switch is perfectly capable of running games such as Witcher, and more Witcher. I mean, it can run Skyrim and Doom, and it can run all of these games, but it can't run Pokemon? I think that's a major Game Freak issue that they need to fix, and hopefully can be fixed through patches. The game also suffers from a multitude of bugs. This is one of the most buggy Pokemon games we have ever played. The game itself must be a bug type because you cannot play this game in its current form. At least, not without some frustrations. Glitching through the floor, camera glitching through the floor, camera glitching into the air, everything has a glitch. If you can think it, it is there. The main issue with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is not that the gameplay itself is bad, it is actually a really good improvement from what classical Pokemon is. The issue with Scarlet and Violet is that it is the result of laziness and purely a lack of polish. If this game had an extra month, then a lot of these bugs and even some performance issues could have been fixed. But no, they decided to release it on time, and this is what we got. I'm really hoping that within the next few months, and hopefully few weeks, we can get some patches that really fix this game out and iron it out. But currently, sitting with a day one patch, I cannot recommend this game for $60. If you can find it cheaper, it is super worth it. I'm going to be giving this game a 7.5 out of 10, simply because of its performance issues. It is so severe at times that it can really downgrade the experience, and if this game just had a few extra months, or can get some really good patches out in a short amount of time, I can easily recommend this game and probably bring it up to an 8.5. It is easily one of the best Pokemon games we've had in years.